Hello. Thank you for coming back to my podcast. I have a new guest today. Can you introduce yourself?
What's up, guys? Jalen Bacon, Adidas Sprinter, avid Star Wars lover, and avid Star Wars hater at the same time.
Yes. Today we're actually going to be talking about Star Wars. Um, Jalen, you like Star Wars for like forever, right?
Yeah, I remember the first time I watched Star Wars was probably when I was 5, and I seen A New Hope. I want to say was the first time I seen it, and I've been hooked ever since.
Yeah. My first movie I saw from Star Wars was actually the Revenge of the Sith.
Okay, yeah, I remember
Yeah.
that one too.
Yeah, that because it was at time was 2005 and it just came on theaters. So my parents took us there.
Yeah,
So that's the first time I saw Star Wars. And I'm like, oh wow, this is kind of cool. Then I saw
right.
two and one. Then I'm like, oh, never mind.
Yeah, I remember. I went to the theaters to watch episode 3 because we had episode 2, Attack of the Clones, on DVD, and
You
I
on
got the
DVD?
game on DVD. Yeah,
Okay.
uh, and then when episode 3 finally came out in theaters, I literally the first thing me and my dad went to do was go watch it, and then we went immediately to GameStop, and I got the episode 3 Revenge of the Sith game.
Same. I got
Uh,
it for PlayStation 2.
yep, PlayStation 2. Playing as Anakin, playing this as Obi-Wan. Like I remember all the missions. I love that game. Like I loved everything about that game. If I'm mistaken, you used to come over and
Yeah, I
play
played
Star
it.
Wars Battlefront.
Yes, I remember
Yeah,
that. Yeah, like the first one or the second one.
the both I
Oh,
remember because I
yeah,
used to bring down the Xbox. We would play the first one at grandma's house, and then we would play the second one whenever you came down to my house.
yeah, definitely remember
Yeah,
that. Yeah,
I love those games. I still have it on my Xbox One now. I
really.
found it that you can download it, and I did bought and download that Xbox Battlefront 2, and like I still play it just to give like the memories and just to see if I still remember the cheat codes.
Yeah. Well, sadly, although I like to talk about memories of how our beloved memories of Star Wars, we
Hmm.
gotta talk about the sequel trilogy today. Yeah, yeah. It's the reason I want to talk about it because we watched the original ones, and I can see how people like the original ones and show their kids, and actually feel
Hmm.
proud about it. But I don't see how anyone can take the sequel trilogy, show to their kids, and feel proud about it.
Let me tell you something. If you were to watch, like, come up to somebody and be like, I want to be a Star Wars fan. I want to get into it. The
Yes.
last movies that you should watch are the sequels. Everything about them except the end of the first one. The end. Like the Darth Vader scene was probably the best thing about the last 3 movies. That's it. I hated everything else. I hated
Oh, you
every other
talk
movie.
about the Rogue One, right?
Yeah, I'm talking about Rogue One.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Wait, are we counting the spinoffs?
Not really.
Or are we count
That's
we're talking about the Force Awakens, we're
yeah.
talking
Force
about the rise.
Awaken. I mean, those are really like the fillers episode. Really, if you really put it in the way,
Okay,
they're
okay, yeah,
fillers.
yeah.
But yeah, I mean, Darth Vader scene killed it. Like that was. I remember watching that. I said, "Oh snap!" Jason, he coming
Yeah.
like Jason Voorhees and everything like that.
Yep.
But
But if we're
like
talking about the originals, I think is in my opinion they're not the same. Like it's not the same feeling. It's not like the director once George Lucas stepped down and gave it to Disney. Disney was just like, all right, I've looked at Star Wars on the internet. Like I've read like 2 Wikipedia articles, and I think I got this.
yeah,
And they did not have it. They did not have
not
it
at all.
whatsoever. It was to be honest, they're in the order of best to worst. Like the last movie, the Rise of Skywalker was probably the worst Star Wars movie ever to go to existence. I'm sorry, it is.
Okay, so let's talk about Force Awakens. And
Okay.
I just want to say, I did not like that movie. I know a lot of people say it's a really good start, but I didn't like the movie because it was just like New Hope, just like
Um, I wouldn't say that it was just a New Hope. The thing is, I think one that they tried to go for the nostalgia feeling, and
yes,
they literally hit it one time. Like they hit it with Chewbacca and they hit it with Han Solo, but like everything else, they didn't. I don't, in my opinion, I don't think they did it right. It was like, oh well, here he is, and it's just like, oh, like was that it? Like you just gave him to us. Like there was no like grand, like
Entrance.
nostalgia going on like at all. Like Lando,
Well,
the entire the scene, I did not feel anything like whatsoever.
yeah. The reason I say that is feel like the basically like the same like carbon copy of the New Hope is
Yeah.
one, the heroes from a desert planet. Two, because some robot trapped in that desert planet. Three, you had
Mm,
the person you need to rescue, the that was from like the rebellion. Then you have
right.
three, you have the another Darth Vader. Four, you have the old man who basically tried to help out the new heroes. What was that?
Yeah.
Five, you have the Death Star again. The you have the planet. You have another Death Star. Why are you doing Death Stars again after three times it's been blown
Listen,
up?
I don't understand whatever the Sith. Well, I guess it's the New Order in this, but like whatever their fantasy is with the Death Star, I have no idea. Like why do you want to continue to build things that get blown up?
The thing get blown up in the movie.
Like it doesn't make sense. Like, do you want to take over the galaxy? Like the literal only way to take over the galaxy is not build a Death Star. Like you are fine without
They have a certain area where you can blow it up, like at one spot. They always have a
it. Yep.
weakness.
Yep.
They have a meeting about
It just doesn't make any sense. Like y'all apparently before the movie was happening, y'all were doing just fine. Like everything was okay. Y'all almost controlled majority of the universe, and then boom, Death Star. Oh, it's a Death Star. Let's blow it up. Now look at you. Y'all almost losing. Like
exactly.
it doesn't make sense.
And then they kill the old man like with a lightsaber again.
You said Ben. Okay, can we before we get into that, can we talk about how terrible of a casting for Ben Solo character was?
Oh, Kylo Ren.
Yeah, I mean, well, yeah, Kylo Ren. Sorry.
So yes,
It's it's I when I seen the movie and he first appeared on the stage, I thought to myself, at what universe would you cast a third grade science teacher as the main villain here? Like, I don't understand.
I it for some reason it works. As in, it got so many fans to still watch the movies. I don't know how, but it works.
Do you think it's because of that, or do you think
Yeah,
it's
yes,
because
I have seen
I mean, it also been what, like how many years before the last Star Wars movie was made? Before Episode 3 was made?
Ben. The
It's
last,
been a long time, like since
yes,
then. So I feel like, in my opinion, that the
10
movie
years.
itself, yeah, it's been 10 years is a long time, and then they decide, okay, we're gonna make another Star Wars movies, and people like you and me are like, oh, Star Wars, like this is gonna be so epic, like they're gonna bring it into like the new graphic era, they're gonna do all this and all that, and they're gonna keep the storyline. So I feel like them making the movie and like people from smaller or like smaller kids to our generation to older generations, like it fits everyone, and I feel like that's what attracted it. But as far as can you really tell me that you like Kylo Ren?
Dude, I had so much problem with Tyler Rand. Not just by the casting, but the way they written his character.
Yeah, they did. Like none of his, he didn't make any kind of sense whatsoever at all.
Like they were trying to make it seem like, oh, he wants to be another Darth Vader wannabe, but he always bratty and always trying to slice up stuff and angry all the time. He never poised or anything like that. He just when you get angry, you just have anger issues, starts trashing the whole place up.
Yeah, and his connection to Ray was literally probably one of the dumbest things I've ever seen, like in a
She's a
movie. Like,
Palpatine.
oh my gosh, she is a Palpatine. That was so, and it's hard because you said that you didn't watch the last movie, and there's so much wrong with the last movie. that it was so stupid that she became we found out she was a Palpatine.
I was
Like
I
so
heard
stupid.
that. I'm like, what?
Between that, then they started giving people powers that didn't remotely make any kind of sense, like at all. Like I forgot you haven't watched the last movie, so do you plan on watching
No, so you can spoil everything. I don't care.
it?
I know like 9% of the movie because I just don't know the dialogue. I just know what happened and like in the order it happens.
Like the entire like idea that you can, I guess, force teleport
What?
things, or
Yeah, I heard that.
I don't understand, like, where did that come from? Like in the last movie, there was a scene where they were confronting Emperor Palpatine, and Rey had both lightsabers. So they had Kylo's lightsaber, and she had her own lightsaber.
Yes.
And so he was in the middle of facing, I think it was like 6 bodyguards or something. I forgot what they're called in the movie. Which, first of all, they had no part in the movie whatsoever. Like when I tell you they hyped them up to just be like, yo,
Kill
like there's some bounty hunters, like we're
him.
Sith Dark Lords, like we're gonna do something. They did nothing until that scene and just end up getting their behinds kicked. Like all entire movie, entire 2 hours, you're just like, when are they gonna do? Oh, okay, they're not gonna do anything. All right, that's cool. But no, so he's fighting them, and he's like kind of moving around, like doing some like Jedi, well, Sith things, I'm not sure. And he just reaches behind his back without
Yes.
any kind of explanation and pulls the lightsaber out. And I'm just like, in
What?
what world did you see any of this? Do you thought that you could just put that in there? Like, what, and not even explain it. Like, they are masters of just saying, here, eat. I'm not going to tell you what it is, but here you go. Like, just accept it. I'm not going to accept that. That doesn't make sense to me
Yeah.
at all.
Yeah, I saw that scene on Twitter and I was like, yeah, I don't remember that at all in the movie. I mean, in any movies, TV shows, or comic books I read, where they can just, I don't know, teleport stuff now.
Like, it does. They just gave him powers, and between that and the kiss, they kissed for no reason.
Because it's the forced romantic love interest.
You talking about the fact that he's been trying to hunt down and like kidnap her for like 3 movies?
Hey, man, it's a kick. Okay, it's a kick. Don't kick shame him. But
I
yeah,
no, you're not going to just be like, okay, they're adversaries, at odds, at odds, at odds. She's the hero, he's the villain, and kiss.
hey, man,
What?
it is what it is.
Like it was just. But back to the first movie, it's just,
Yeah.
you're right. Like he's just very over emotional, because I guess like I get the idea of what they're saying about the whole, like, he's still like needs to be molded, this and that. But like the Supreme Lord, but it was Smoke, wasn't it? Is it Supreme Overlord
Was
Smoke, or
was smoke. Sorry.
was they didn't even they just threw him in there. They didn't say nothing about him.
Yeah, it's like the the first movie, in my personal opinion, it just feel like, I mean, it was the best one of the whole trilogy, but to me, I just didn't like it because I just felt like they just took some part from the New Hope, put in this movie. They even tried to add like a Palpatine or Snoke at the time, and then the fact that they just didn't feel well done. Like when I first saw the trailer for the movie, I thought Finn was going to be the main character. The way how they advertised the movie.
The way that they disrespected Finn, and actually, like, Finn was literally nothing but a side character the entire movie. But like you put him in main character like positions, like you didn't represent him well. Like there's no backstories to anything. Like we're just supposed to accept everything. And that's the part that I don't understand about like how Disney made the movies. Like, why aren't you explaining all of this? Why are you trying to get all of this done in 3 movies?
It felt fast, like that, and that's one
It
thing.
did.
It just like the first movie, like they didn't really explain Ray. They didn't really
Nope.
explain Poe. They didn't really
Nope.
explain Finn. They didn't really. Well, they did kind of
Explain
explain.
anything.
They kind of explained Kylo a little bit, but not too much.
Like if anything, they gave the most information about Kylo, and he really had a simple backstory. Was the like his dad and his other like he ended up. What did he say? That he killed the rest of the Jedi.
I
That
don't know
was
if
at
that's true or
Luke's.
not, but I think so.
That was in Luke's Jedi training because that's the reason why Luke didn't want to start back up with the Jedi again.
See, now we go back to Force Awakens, and
Mm-hmm.
because I know you just went to the second movie, The Last Jedi, but the first movie, I got so upset when Rey beat a Kylo. So you telling me that all those students who was trained under Luke lose to
Mm-hmm.
Kylo, but a person who never trained in lightsaber battle
Mm-hmm.
won against Kylo?
First of all, that lightsaber battle in the main room, it was a terrible lightsaber battle. The choreography was terrible.
But yeah, we don't get to that. But what's the
Mm-hmm.
we're still on Force Awakens, and really Force Awakens don't really have much really in there, so we're almost
Oh
done with
yeah, that's
that.
true.
And I just want to say that the battle in lightsaber battle, the final one, the Force Awakens,
Oh yeah, the one they were
but
there outside.
yeah,
That's what it
outside,
was. So
yes,
I'm mixing up all the movies together just
yeah,
because like
yeah,
they don't stand out to me whatsoever.
yeah. I mean, yeah, we went from like
Like
the first one, this third
yeah,
one, the
they were
second one.
sitting on the Death Star in the woods or whatever, and they were yeah. It didn't really make sense of how she beat him
It was like
whatsoever.
even Finn almost had good standing against him. Like, they make
Which makes me wonder if he's even a good bad guy. Like,
he's not.
is he a decent enough bad guy? He's a terrible bad guy.
He's not a good bad guy at all.
Like it was just rushed. Like in the beginning, it was a feeling of nostalgia, like I said earlier. But even so, like they didn't really explain much about what happened with the New Order. Like how what is going on in the universe from the
Bruh,
last time we seen everything.
bruh, dude, I've been wondering that the whole entire time. I mean, I know that the original Star Wars didn't really talk about what the resistance or the rebellion versus the empire thing, but it was still
Mm-hmm.
intriguing. Like, you still like, okay, you kind of understand what's going on a little bit. Like, oh, it's been going on for 19 years, so maybe some people did
Mm-hmm.
not know about it. But this is very, but from what I know, it's very new, and yet we do
Mm-hmm.
not even know why Kylo is part of this group, why this group came up in the first place. Which I think I believe I know why they started up the group, but we're gonna talk about that later. But
Mm-hmm.
they didn't like that whole thing. The first movie is supposed to give you the background, like definitely doing like a trilogy. It's supposed to give you the background to make you understand what's going on, to make so you
Mm-hmm.
now have like a foundation for the rest of the movie. They didn't build a foundation, and that's why I
Nope.
said the first one for me started off bad. So
Because
now,
if I remember correctly, the first movie started off where the stormtroopers
yes,
were killing those village people, right?
yes,
Yeah. See, there was no kind of information whatsoever behind that, and I definitely agree with you. Like it was stupid. Like you again, as real Star Wars fans, because people who are just watching the movie, I guess they enjoy it for the graphics. They'll enjoy it because it's a movie to go watch. But
yes.
as real Star Wars fans, like we are already invested years and years and years into what the story is. Last time we seen Star Wars, everybody was getting the medal because the Sith we beat the Sith. Darth Vader's dead. Like Emperor Palpatine got thrown down the Death Star. Like that's the last thing that we
Mhm.
seen. And now you're gonna tell us, okay, now the good guys are at the breaking point of never like are getting completely destroyed, and they're just committing genocide to these people. Like you can't just do that and not give us a story behind it.
Like you had, that's why you had the crawl for. The crawl's supposed to give you info, and we still didn't get the info from the crawl in the beginning of
It
the movie.
was, yeah, it was. Oh man, I got a lot to say about this movie, but I feel like the right questions are gonna come up later.
Yeah, so now we'll go to the second movie, The Last Jedi.
Okay.
Okay, so personally, I actually like this movie better because, like I said, I didn't like the first one, because I feel like it was like a beat off a beat. Well, like I said, beat off a beat from New Hope. This one felt new and just trying new things. And after I learned what happened with Disney and how they were doing the movies, I appreciate more of the director ideas now. Because do you know that actuality they didn't have an outline for this whole trilogy?
I believe that.
They didn't have an outline. So basically, J.J. Abrams finished Force Awakens and say, "Hey, Ryan Johnson, you're gonna direct the next movie, and you can have creative control of the whole movie.
Control.
Like
Yeah.
we're not gonna. I'll probably give you some notes, probably, but it's all your imagination. So now you gave another director who wrote the script, whole freedom to make a new movie.
J.J. Abrams came in and he said, "I came here for lights, lights and graphics, and y'all telling me I have to write this movie. I'm gonna let somebody else give it a try since everybody hated my movie. It's somebody up next."
And yeah, I like I said,
But
I like the when I sat in the theater, I actually did enjoy watching The Last Jedi, but I can see why people didn't like it because imagine like the last movie you watched, they said Rey is a very important person. She's very important and she have a big is reason behind the whole universe. And then Ryan Johnson came up and said, "Nope, she a nobody. She's a
she
nobody.
has no parents. She's nobody.
Her parents sold her for drinking money. She was just not that good. She's
Like
really not that good.
it was in The Last Jedi. That was when they found she found Luke's
Luke.
lightsaber, correct?
Yes. No, she already had it already. She found Luke.
Oh, she found Luke in Last Jedi.
Yes.
Yeah. So one of the things that I did like was the fact that, well, I take that back. The only thing I really liked was the graphics in that movie.
Like I said, I like the fact about what he did with Luke, but I feel like they should have more discussions, as in like him actually giving his reasons more to actually say, like,
Luke.
oh, this is why Luke is feeling bummed about this. The guy who gave us a lot of hope. He should have like more reasons, like saying, I try this happen all the time, but if you look at history, you always have to have Jedi and separate and the still. You all have good and evil all the time. If you destroy that balance, you do a bad thing. And then Ray said, but if you're not helping us, you're making the bad side get more stronger. And
that is true.
To become.
I'm not gonna lie, I did like the CGI with Yoda. That they hit it again with the nostalgia point, and I very much enjoyed that. But him burning the books didn't.
No, that was stupid.
It was stupid. There's no reason for you to do that. There's only one person in this entire universe that knows where you are.
Exactly. Like, why are you destroying the books for?
What's up? It was between that, and I know I mentioned it earlier, the fight scenes, the whole General Snoke. Like, General Snoke was probably the worst thing about that entire movie, in my opinion.
The throne room?
Yeah, the throne room scene. Well, the fighting scene in the throne room, in my opinion, wasn't up to par. Like, especially when you have like choreography, like the Revenge of the Sith. Like all of those lightsaber battles were just like A1. Like this is amazing content.
With story behind it too.
With the story.
Yeah.
The thing is, they didn't say or like explain his past whatsoever. Like everybody's come up with these theories about who this guy is. Like that, you got some of the theories about like it used to be Mace Windu, or everybody Jar Jar. Like everybody's gonna have their theory, and they made so much fuss about it because he was incredibly force sensitive. I guess his species is like this at the top for force sensitivity, and he's training our main villain. But he dies, and that's it.
And like in the way he died was play as for laughs. He was like, I know my apprentice. I can feel his inner thought. He's thinking about killing someone, and he get killed.
Yeah, like obviously, like like he literally sat here and fought with your people. Like I'm confused about why didn't you think you were next? It's just I hate the fact that we don't know anything about him. And I was very much invested and very much interested even after the first movie because I felt like, okay, well, if the first movie was to set things up, the second movie obviously has to be to explain things. But again, there was no information, no background, no anything.
Yeah, it was like that's why I had a problem with the first one. It just didn't do it wasn't the building block for. And then when you went to a whole executive thing where you say, "Hey, let's not make an outline for the whole movie, but and give our whole franchise right now in the middle of it, the crux of it, to another director who they don't even talk to each other,
Mm-hmm.
it's gonna be bound for failure."
Yeah, there
Like,
was no way for this movie to succeed.
like, I mean, like I say, I like it because it was fresh and new to me. But if I sat here and actually talk about like, oh, I'm gonna watch all these movies straight, I wouldn't. The Last Jedi made no sense.
No, not at all.
They're
None.
like, oh, we have this story, then a completely different story. The second one, they're going back to the story we had in the first place.
Mm-hmm. And you know what? The biggest, just like bird that they just flipped us the bird, in my opinion.
What's that?
They was just like, after everything that we have done, after all the non-explanations, after just feeding you nonsense after nonsense, let's end the movie by making Leia use the Force to get back on the ship.
I think that's the beginning of the movie.
I just wonder that was at the end of the movie.
No, it was like it was the beginning of the movie. Kylo, his ships, they shot the bridge, and that's why they had to evacuate because the front part of the ship was destroyed. But
I thought I could have sworn it was at the end of the movie where. So the end of the movie landed on.
Luke
Okay,
died.
yeah. Then that was at the beginning of the movie.
Yeah, Luke
So
died in the beginning in the movie.
yeah, yeah, that's what it was. She just did that, and it was just like, okay,
She
all
is
right,
Mary Poppins back
yeah,
to
just Mary Poppins right on there. Like survive the cold ice tundra of space with no spacesuit, no nothing.
You can
And
survive for like I heard you can survive like 5 minutes out in space unprotected, but
with no air.
yeah, like you can survive like, but you're not. But if you don't have a ship or anything like that, and you're not gonna move or anything like that too, so you're stuck in that one place.
Like she's force sensitive, but she like literally used the force like a Jedi. And I know
Yes,
she's been trained by Luke, but like she was force sensitive. She was not able to control the force like
yes,
at all. But apparently she was adept enough, like adept enough in the force to pull herself from the jaws of space
and go
back onto the
to
ship.
the door and survive.
Yeah. Yeah.
That was
Doesn't make
stupid.
sense.
And
It
plus, she
was
just
it was
came.
incredibly stupid.
And none of that would she be like knocked out because like her ship got blown up. Her part
Yeah.
of the ship got blown up. How is she
Yep.
still
Yes, it did.
conscious enough to do this?
Again, there's not a single person with all them pilots, and there's not a single person that's just been out there in space, just chilling,
It was
just
plot.
chilling.
It was plot. Like she got survived because of plot armor. That's all it was.
Plot. Oh my gosh, the amount of plot armor in this movie is disgusting, disgusting, despicable. Like it just doesn't make remotely any sense, and
Uh,
it
the,
brings us basically to the last movie,
well,
and that was the worst of
before we get to the
all.
last movie,
Mm-hmm.
I brought up plot armor. The
Okay.
throne room. The throne room is basically plot armor all over it. Like Rey and Kylo just had plot armor. Have you seen the one where actually like somebody like freeze the fight scene the whole entire time and you can see all the mistakes they made?
I actually haven't seen that.
Yo, I can see in the video, and it's very long, but a person like it's like 53 minutes of the person showing all the mistakes that the that the choreography had. Like so many times where Ray should have been killed. One time, this guy he had like two things in his hands, and he brought Ray over there, and he got her in like a chokehold, and
Mm-hmm.
suddenly his other weapon he had in the other hand disappeared. It disappeared.
The
Like,
carelessness.
he could have stabbed her from the back. He just but disappeared.
The carelessness. I have to see this video now. Like it would just literally make my day of these movies to make sure I'm not crazy. But I have to see this movie now. That is because I can imagine it. Like I can imagine them sitting in a room and saying, "This is the scene we want," but not taking the time to make the scene perfect. I can literally imagine that. Like it's just a bunch of and nobody will pay attention. They'll be all right.
And then people pay attention.
And everybody pays attention because you're messing with one of the biggest franchises ever created in movie history.
And on
Like
that,
I don't understand at what point did you say like this was okay to just like mess around with? Like when you stepped into this role, when you step into like this responsibility, you have that responsibility to make it just as good and as legendary as the original three and the prequels. Like that is your job.
at least the prequels. At least the
Yeah, and
prequels.
everybody hated the prequels.
At
I mean, I
least.
personally love the prequels,
Same.
but everybody hated the prequels. But it was still like, if you're at legendary status, your hate is at really good. Like you're being bring down to like it's still really good. You see what I'm saying?
Yes.
Like, but now you went from legendary status to I cannot believe y'all wasted millions of dollars on this.
Yes.
Like I can't believe it.
Like literally the throne room in the movie was so stupid because it was like you can see all the mistakes easily if you're like a director or editor. Like, you can easily see these mistakes, and you looked at it and said, "Man, they ain't gonna notice it," and just walk away. That showed you had no care about the movie. That you said, "I can just throw away that scene."
I definitely felt like Disney disrespected the franchise. I'm not even gonna lie to you. I definitely feel like, and I was very highly upset for it because there's not that many things that I actually do like say that I'm a fan of, but don't just throw it to the side like that. Like if because I do want to see the video, and if you can send me to after this, that would be great.
Yes,
But
I'll find it.
don't just like don't treat it like it's just whatever. Like I don't know if the idea was to make it for like little kids and not the fans, because you know Disney is all about like getting everybody included. Like it's not like a storytelling kind of thing. You know what I mean? It's like we're gonna make one movie here and like that's gonna be like a really good movie. Like there's no explanations on backstories, there's no nothing. Like this is what you have. And that's why people love it. But if you're walking into a situation where like you have to tell a story, I don't feel like Disney's capable.
Yes.
That's just me. I don't feel like they're capable.
And so like I personally want to say one thing too. Just I didn't understand the hate for Rose. Like I really thought she was a bad character. What is the fans' reaction? Since you're like a bigger fan than I am, why do people didn't like Rose?
Rose was the girl on the ship, right?
Yes, the Asian girl. Well, Asian
Yeah,
woman.
she played no part. Like there was no reason for her to be there. Like a love interest for what they made a side character. Like why is she important? Why is she relevant?
Only thing she got royalties on was that she saved Finn
Mm-hmm.
and her sister died. That's all.
Yeah, like that's it. Like there's no point of having her there. Like, and I'm pretty sure didn't they like fall in love or something like that?
No, not a third movie.
No. I mean, but then she fall in love, I guess.
Oh yeah, yes.
Yeah, not that. Okay.
You already know that
Like,
man want a white girl. Wait, you asking any questions?
but even that, like, why did y'all let that happen? Like, you didn't develop her as a character whatsoever.
Dude, they don't develop nobody, so it's like this is trend for them.
Mm-hmm.
This is a trend.
That's why people hated her. There was no reason for her to be there. Like, in my opinion, it just seemed like they needed to diversify.
Exactly. They're like, well, we got a black guy, we have a Hispanic guy, we have a white girl.
If we
Man, we
just
need
throw in the
one more
Asian
person.
woman,
We're
we are
missing one
good.
person.
Like they were just going off a checklist, just like, all right, we got that checked off. Like they didn't develop her character. They gave her this meaningless like love interest role to another character that they didn't develop. So it's kind of just like she's at the bottom of the list and still relevant. Like, why are you relevant? Who
And
are you?
to make it worse too, like the Taskmaster guy, what they call the code breaker guy. Sorry,
Yeah, I
boy,
forgot.
was he meaningless.
Like there was just a lot of meaningless characters, and I think at this point people were just fed up with um they're just fed up with how the movie roles were going, and now you're just adding characters for no reason. So that's the reason why I don't like her. Like there's no reason for her being there, like at all.
And like so many people make so many plans to do something, and none of the
Mm-hmm.
plan works. Like the reason why like Finn and Rose went to where that planet called, I forgot called, um, just to find a code breaker, and the code breaker thing doesn't work out. So the whole mission there was meaningless, which is okay if you're written correctly, but then they try to do this another mission with trying to escape from the ships.
Mm-hmm.
I'm still trying to figure out how they know they're escaping from the ships. But that's another.
Um, that's
That's
a good question. I never thought about that. That is a good question.
because like the code breaker guy did not know either.
Mm-hmm.
I don't if because Finn should not know about either. So nobody on that ship should know that the people was escaping from the ship. But you know that's whatever. That
Who
didn't
is
work.
Finn?
Finn, the black guy,
No, I know that, but who is Finn?
the Stormbreaker. He was a former
Yeah,
stormtrooper
he's
guy.
a former stormtrooper, but who is he?
I don't. We actually
God, see, and that's the question I'm gonna ask you. Who
no,
is your other main character?
let hold on the characters real quick. Like hold on that. We're gonna talk about all the characters like Rey, Finn, and also Kylo and even Poe. Let's hold
Okay.
on those characters. Let's talk about them later on because they need their own segment right there. Talk about their own character development
Yeah.
because there's so
We'll
much
talk
to talk
about
about
that.
them.
Mm-hmm.
So that's pretty much it for Last Jedi. I mean, there's other things that really make no sense, like the Force meeting they had.
The
Uh,
Force meetings are just incredibly stupid. Like I get you have a Force connection, but Obi-Wan couldn't talk to Anakin like that, and they're so much better than what those two were. Like there's y'all you literally can see the room and what somebody else is standing in. How?
like they didn't
How?
need like I remember on like Storm like the Clone Wars they had like a little calm, and they had
Mm-hmm.
to like show each other like they had to use that little calm thing they had in their hand
Yeah.
see what they're doing. Yet you telling me in this new
Two people with
movie,
no training can do it. That's crazy.
yes, that's crazy. So people who've been trained for years don't know how to do certain things that they can do. Okay,
That makes sense. I guess just put it in there. It's
yeah.
whatever, right?
They say we don't have technology to do it, so we're just gonna do the force space time.
Yeah, force FaceTime. That's exactly what it is. Which apparently they were just able to. Again, that logic and that understanding just makes no sense. The logic's not there.
So yeah, we can. So that's all the I feel like we talk about a lot about the Last Jedi. It was just I thought it was ambiguous, not ambiguous, sorry, ambitious on how they tried something new, but it fell right in the face.
Yep. And
So
I see the idea which they were going with. They like you said they wanted something new, and that's fine. It's just the consistency is just not there.
no, it's not there at all.
It's not there. Like you're doing a lot right now, and which is fine, but like explain it.
Yes,
Just explain it. Maybe the movie would be better if they just
explain.
explain some things. Like maybe I would have a complete different take on that entire movie series
If
if
you
they just
explain.
explain something.
Okay, so now since you watched this movie, I did not because I got mad when I saw. So let me tell you why I didn't watch the movie. So
Okay.
a clip they released a clip on for the Rise of Skywalker. I'm talking about right now. They
Okay.
released this clip where they're on like this desert island, the desert planet, and while on the desert planet, they're escaping from the stormtroopers. And while it's trying to escape, the stormtroopers got their backpacks on, and find out their jetpacks, and they jump up, jetpack activate, and they start shooting. Finn had the audacity to say, "They fly now."
Yeah, he doesn't know.
So you telling me this man who's been trained in the military for all this time, and I was thinking about the timeline. He was not gone for a very long time. He should
I
know
don't
they
think he
had
was.
jetpacks.
You should have known that they could create jetpacks. I mean, are you really that surprised when your ship flies? Like, I'm confused.
They fly now.
Like, you literally have a spaceship, and you are surprised that they have jetpacks. Is that where we're going with this?
No, they should. No, none of them should be surprised because jetpacks have been used every single era. The the one back in the prequel era, the
Mm-hmm.
original era with Boba Fett, and even now,
Yep.
like, why are you surprised that they have jetpacks?
Even that, I'm not gonna lie. Even the attempt at comedy was not that funny.
It was
I'm going to say it. That they tried comedic relief and it wasn't funny.
so that's the reason why I did not watch that movie. Cause I'm like, okay, so if the writing this stupid, it's gonna be like this for the rest of the movie. So let me give you the reign of talking about the Rise of Skywalker.
Well, let me tell you something. It was the worst movie. The worst movie of all of them. I hated it. I hated every minute of it. I texted all my friends that said they were going to go watch it. Don't waste your time. I will save you $12 because it's literally they threw in, and like I've been saying, like this entire like conversation, like the two movies before that, how they just throw in like that's the theme of why I hate it so much. They throw in stuff. You wanted me to tell you what they throw in this last movie?
What's that?
Ray apparently finds the ability to heal creatures and heal people.
Oh, actually,
Oh,
let me tell you something. So before that movie came out,
mm-hmm.
Disney, you heard a show called The Mandalorian, right?
Yeah, I've watched The Mandalorian.
Yeah. On the last episode, before the movie came out, because they try to rush it before the movie come out, they actually had the Baby Yoda character, or
Yep.
they had him heal somebody. So they're trying to establish that already before the movie came out.
Mm-hmm. Yep. I remember that thing, and I was just like, that makes sense because of how sensitive that their beings are. That's fine. But
Yes.
again, you go from Ray, who literally has had her life changed within the last, like, let's just go 3 months.
Yes.
Like her life just completely changed. So they get into they're looking for this piece. They're looking for the I want to remember correctly. I think they're looking for like a map. It's a directions to the Sith homeworld,
Yes.
and it was in a ship that was sunk in like the desert. I want to say it was Tatooine, but I'm not really sure. But so the ship sinks, and they're in these underground caverns. So they finally found the piece where, and it's protected like a snake monster or whatever that got injured for no reason at all. No reason. Ray walks up. I got this. I'ma heal him.
Wait, what?
Exactly. 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 Just like that. That's exactly what I said. I'ma heal him. You're gonna do what now? I'm gonna heal him. And she did. And then the snake apparently said, thank you. That's all I wanted. And just dipped. Just dipped. And they got them booked. Like it literally made no sense because they did, I think, some like 10-second explanation. She's just like, I don't know how I know how to do this, but like
What?
I feel it. And I'm just like, what? What? You can't do that. She doesn't know how to do that.
It's just like how in the first movie she learned how to do the Jedi mind trick without even trying.
Like you don't know how to do that. Between that and literally they get to this one part where literally like right after that. So it was nonsense back to back. Where the guys that I was talking about earlier, they the 6 Sith guards or whatever they were, they came in and they no, let me set the scene first. So
Okay.
just imagine that you're just in the open desert with like one like rock-like mountain. It's not that tall. It's just tall enough to be like to cast a shadow over you, right?
Yes.
Everything else, there's nothing out there. The first thing that you would notice is if a ship comes flying, correct?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, you would notice that. They did. They didn't at all. They snuck up on him. Don't know how they snuck up on him, but they did. Like there's an entire it's a ship. Like it makes noise. Like you're going to see it if there's nothing else around. They snuck up on them and they ended up Baca and I want to say Finn, I think. And so they're leaving on the ship. They're on, and it's Kylo Ren and it's Rey. They're like battling it out. So she decides to force pull the ship to like stop it from leaving. Which I'm just like, all right, I guess you're that strong. That makes sense. Like a force pull is a force pull. So Kylo Ren's trying to grab the ship the other way. Out of nowhere, she gets angry, shoots lightning out of her fingertips, and blows the ship up.
Wait, what?
Blows it up.
What?
She shoots lightning out of her fingertips.
Wow, that is bad writing there.
Like, no, and they didn't, and I guess that was their way of saying that she's Palpatine's like either daughter or granddaughter or related to her. But again, you just threw that out there for no reason. And she goes on this whole like tangent, like, oh, I killed my friends, and like her little like kind of stunt towards the dark side. And at that point, Ben becomes more of the hero than what Rey was, which the idea makes sense, but the execution was terrible. Like it was absolutely insane how bad the execution of that movie was. And even so, like she's apparently whatever connection that was not established before this movie between her and Ben, like you're thinking, like, let me ask you, what did you think that was? Like, did you think it was like a brother sister type thing? Was it like a
the relationship
yeah, between them two? Because I thought they were related. I thought they were like brother and sister or something.
Maybe like cousin, probably.
Yeah, somewhere in the family. Well, it turns out that it was an intimate relationship between those two. How? Where were we supposed to see that coming at? First thing I thought is when Ben was dying, which she breathed life back into Ben for like 13 seconds, and they kissed at the end of the movie.
Ben said, I ain't gonna die like this. It came back to like get kissed and die.
And apparently, he becomes a Force ghost. Only good people do that.
See, they worked so hard this one last movie to make him a good guy.
They tried so hard.
Sorry,
and got so far, but in the end, it didn't even matter. Like it was still a terrible movie. Yeah. And like apparently Palpatine has just been sitting in the lurks and like controlling this whole thing.
Okay, so
you got thrown down a shaft.
Okay, so I was about to ask, you saw that too, right? He got thrown down a shaft and the thing blew up.
And blew up.
How did he survive?
They didn't explain that either.
Really?
Like the one thing that they did show was like he created General Snoke. Like there was like another one of him, and I guess he was feeding off their life force to survive. But like it literally made no sense of how he was still alive. Like what had to be 40 years later. He was already like 90. Like I don't understand. Like it didn't make sense. Like you literally just said, "Oh, the Emperor's still alive."
They said,
"Surprise."
The man said, "You know what? Surprise the fans. Let's bring somebody back to the dead. They did like a Fast and Furious on us.
Like at least bring Anakin back if you was gonna do that."
No,
like I would rather see Anakin than the Emperor Palpatine. Like he was already the villain literally for 6 movies.
Now 7.
Now 7 movies. Y'all had one villain for 7 movies. And then I guess he just gets it's just such a bad movie. Like the writing was just so terrible.
And like what I heard was that when she was battling against Palpatine, her granddaddy, um, she heard the voices of other Jedi's.
Okay, now that was probably the only cool part in that entire movie to me. Like as she's like getting struck down by like lightning and she's like holding it against the lightsabers, kind of like how Mace Windu was doing Palpatine the first time, because you know
Mm-hmm.
there's a common theme here.
Don't use
Um,
lightsabers. don't
yeah,
put
like
lightning against
lightning
lightsabers.
lightsabers beat lightning easily. Like that's he didn't learn this lesson back then when he almost got two piece by Mace Windu, so he decided to try it again.
Yeah, this person
And
inexperienced.
Arlen,
Like
it's
this
literally
person
all the
inexperienced.
voices like Obi-Wan. It's the voices of Anakin, Ahsoka Tano, and like a couple more. And she's just like, rise, like get up. And that was a pretty like inspiring, pretty like cool part, because like you hear everyone's voices. Like you literally get taken down memory lane and you're just like, yo, like that's really Anakin. Like I haven't heard his voice in so long. I haven't heard Obi-Wan's voice. Like it's really cool to hear. And that doesn't take away from the fact that she should never have been able to beat the Emperor, but like it was really dope to hear that, because she didn't know what to do, so she called upon the Jedi of the past. Well, they helped her, so that was pretty dope. That was really dope. But other than that, like it just didn't make any sense at all. Like the writing was just like, yo, we're just gonna do whatever. This is our last one. I'm out. Which is why I enjoy the side movies a lot more than the original trilogy.
Yeah, like I said, I skipped that movie. I heard I heard nothing but bad things about that movie. I heard no
Mm-hmm.
positive review whatsoever. Even people who tried to defend it, trying to talk about that, oh, they fly now scene, which
Mm-hmm.
I was like, it's stupid. And somebody said, well, you understand that we never really saw the First Order and stuff like that. I'm like, they did, but so like I heard when I was like, I just said I'm skipping this movie. I'm gonna hear it. If it's really good, I'll go watch it. But from what I heard, it was not a good movie.
Personally, I think that we should revisit this. I think you should watch the movie and we revisit this conversation.
I mean, I can do that. I can. It's on Disney Plus free, so I can do that.
Yeah, it needed to be for free. Now you see it didn't come out of it. And the funny thing you don't hear about is come watch it on Blu-ray. Nah, I'm good. I'm all right.
Yeah, I don't
I'm
need that
good.
much. I don't need that definition for that. I'll just watch it free.
So I definitely think that you should watch the movie and then we revisit this conversation, because
Yeah.
I need to hear the disgust in your voice. I do. I need to hear the
Oh, you
anger.
had to hear it about
Like,
the characters.
do it.
Okay, so I texted you last night and I said, "Hey, Jalen, do you know this word called Mary Sue?" And you said,
Mm-hmm.
"Not you feel like you should have heard it before, but you don't know really about."
Right.
Well, Mary Sue's there's two things. They're called Mary Sue's and Gary Sue's. Basically, Mary Sue, the female character, who feel like a standing character. Like they have all the best tropes. Like they have no weaknesses, and they're just perfect in a way. And they just learn
Okay.
things on the fly.
Okay. That's definitely that. We know who that is.
And Gary Sue basically is a male
The
rendition
male
of that.
version of that.
Yes.
Okay.
And when we talk about Ray, yeah, I don't know because the movie called Mulan came out recently, and the original Mulan, they have her struggling and actually becoming a character that why people actually root for her and say, yeah, she's so cool, she's so great. But then the new Mulan came out, everybody said they just gave her powers. Like she didn't really fought for anything. This is what Ray was like in this movie. Like
Yeah.
she did not train for anything. This is why I really do hate the fight scene with her versus Kylo Ren, because like she never touched a lightsaber in her for her life. She picked it up,
Nope.
finally turned on, and suddenly she toe to toe against the best Sith Lord at that time, who've been
Yeah.
training for years under Snoke
Yep.
and Luke Skywalker,
Mm-hmm.
and yet she beat
With
him bad.
the plot armor behind her is disgusting. Like, there's no reason why she should have been as decent as what she was. Like like you said, it takes years. Like they gave her the plot armor just because I feel like they knew that they didn't establish her the right way, and they had to because logically, like she doesn't win. Like there's no reason why she should win anything.
And
Like
like
yeah,
another thing I just did not like is that, well, she got all the powers right. It was just like so easy for her to get the powers. Like, why are they just giving her all the powers without even trying?
yeah, they it's and she's using them well enough to be adept at it. And they mentioned, I want to say, either in the second movie, the third movie, that she was training a little bit, but she stopped her training like halfway. And like when I say training, like I guess it had to be the quickest training possible because
One day training.
you're admitting into the order when you're little. Like you're a Padawan when you're young. Like anybody that's over 12 years old can't be admitted into the Jedi training. So Lucas had to give her like the basic rundown because they were in the middle of a crisis and she only halfway got through that. So it doesn't really make sense about how she developed over time to be as good as what
Right.
they made her seem.
Training, dude. Only thing he did was told her what the force is.
Mm-hmm.
That was it.
Like it was, she shouldn't have been nowhere near that good. I can understand you unlocking more powers under time, but like, no, they definitely they gave her plot armor, like without a doubt.
And and I forgot after that, the main thing I really do not like about it is the character. It's like she have nothing. Like ask your dad multiple times, say, hey, what is or who is Ray? What her goals, what her ideals, why does she want to fight in this war? Who is Ray? And he was like, I don't know.
Mm. She's a girl, I guess. I don't know.
Like, who is Ray? That's
But
a good question.
it was just the fact that going back, sorry, for the one thing I did forget because that just reminded me is the fact that she had the audacity to call herself the last Skywalker. Who are you? Who are you? You're the last Palpatine. But like, who are you to call yourself the last Skywalker? Like, what did you do to earn that? What did you do to deserve that besides get mad at Luke for him to just like him not to be even a factor anymore and fight with Ben Solo, Kylo Ren? Like, who are you to call yourself the last Skywalker?
Exactly. It's just like she have no reason in the movie. Like the story was not written around her. Like she just put in the story, placed in there, and it was just there because the actress, I seen another movie and she's pretty good.
Yeah.
So watching this movie, I'm like, all that she does is act shocked, do some amazing things, and act shocked again.
Mm-hmm. She did as the actress, she did as best as she could under the situations.
The script wasn't good.
Mm-mm.
Like that's one thing that I heard. Like a lot of people get upset when they hear like the word Mary Sue. They think that you're being misogynist, hatred of women. The whole thing, like you said, oh, you don't reason you're criticizing this woman character because she's a woman. But no, when you say a Mary Sue, you're attacking the writer. You calling the writer lazy,
Yep.
and that's really what's going on. The writer is
It's,
lazy.
it's already hard enough to write women roles in movies, but to do it to the degree that they try to do, really, she did the best under the circumstances that she had. If it was written and directed by anybody else, she would have been fine.
Yeah, like I said, when you hear the word Mary Sue, it does not mean you're criticizing. You're not criticizing the character. You're criticizing the writer, and the writer was J.J. Abrams and Ryan Johnson.
Yeah,
and
both of them.
And so basically, you're going after the white man. So you're not, there's nobody getting, there's no one like a minority getting hit by this. So,
Right. That is definitely true.
so like when you call a character Mary Sue, you're going after the white men, not the white woman or black characters or whatever. You go after white men. We said, oh, they poorly written that character, and that character is a
Mm.
Mary Sue because they just said, I don't have the struggle to write down reason why this character had this way, and you see it the way how they explain everything.
Just know that she needs to come out victorious. She needs to be this powerful woman, but we're
Yes,
just not going to write a reason why she is.
yes,
And that's basically how it felt. It just felt like they knew that a woman was going to be the star of the series, which is amazing, which is like it's innovative, which is like it's a thing. But if you it doesn't make a difference whether it's a woman or whether it's a man if you're not writing the character right. So it's not you're right. It's not about the character. It's about the
the
writer.
writers.
Yeah.
And that's the whole thing. That's what I talk about the Mary Sue is that the writers were being lazy and they made Ray. They just made her. To me, I don't know how anybody. This is me. I don't know how like cause maybe because I'm a guy probably, but I don't see how any woman or little girl can actually connect with Ray when Ray doesn't give you like a lot of emotions, don't really give you a reason why to root for her and say, yes, yes, this is what I want to see on TV. The strong,
Right.
independent woman who uses her brain, who uses her strength, the way she carry herself. I want to be just like Ray. I watch Ray, I'm like, she just giving no emotions. She just giving like her mouth is always open, not talking, just
Yeah.
open. And she
He
just
was nonsense. Utter nonsense.
so
But I feel the same way about Ben's character as well.
yes. Okay. Ben, my problem with him is that he just, like I said, he's whiny. And when Ray beat him in that fight in the first movie,
Mm-hmm.
it ruined his whole character. Like, he doesn't intimidate me no more. It like if Darth Vader lost the fight against Luke in the second movie, he wouldn't be intimidating no more. There's no threat no more. He's not intimidating. He's not scary. He's not some threat you see. If the hero beat the person the first time around, it's like, oh, okay, they're now a joke.
To be honest, I don't think he was ever much of a threat. The only thing he did was what was that I don't remember what movie it was. It was like him just like slashing up the console or whatever out of
The first
rage.
one,
Yeah, it was so it's the first one. Like I don't see he was just emotionally disturbed the entire time. Like he in my opinion, he was never truly a villain.
yes,
He was a lost soul with no true villain in the movie until the last one.
like, let's see, like for instance, this is one of my. I'm a big fan of the Avatar: The Last Airbender, so I'm gonna use this reference real quick. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
Azula, the reason why she was so scary in like the book 2 to 3 because she was cold, calculated, kind of stoic in a way until like the very last fight where she just loses it in like a gradual regression of her character. And it was
Mm-hmm.
well done because like when she lost it, okay, this is her downfall because
Mm-hmm.
she no longer has she's not on edge no more. But in this movie, he never on edge. This man is always crying. This man is always destroying stuff. He's always whining about something. So I have to be the next Darth Vader and then just destroy stuff and just like that part when
He never is the thing is he's never had a rising and he didn't have a falling. All he did
exactly.
was change his stance on things. Like there was never like a okay, he's really good and then he's really bad, or like he was really bad and then turned to like really good at what he does. It was literally just at 50% the entire time. Like there was never an establishment of like
What his
him
stance
getting
was.
better or getting worse. Yeah, on what his stance was.
He was like
Like
he
he
was like,
killed his father, and
yes,
that was just
bad,
about it. But even so, he cried when he did that. So he never like truly became like
evil.
truly evil. like which was I guess it made it like I see where you were going, but like he's got like somebody has to step up and be a villain in this series.
Like they made him a
Like
Zuko. Oh, like, sorry, Avatar: Last Airbender reference again. They made him a Zuko, but he did not have. They didn't put like a Zula. So it's like,
yeah, that
dude,
is true.
you have to. You if you're gonna give us a bad guy, you have to give a really good bad guy, and you can't just put in a dead character in your last movie to do that now,
Yeah,
or
like
kill off
you can't just do that.
or kill off your other bad guy you're trying to set up.
That is. Oh my gosh, I'm getting stressed out again. Just rethinking this movie, just thinking about it. But no, they just didn't have the right character development for me to actually like him. Like
No,
it wasn't enough. Like there was nothing very stand outish about him besides the fact that um besides the fact that he was the main character. Not the main villain, but he was a main character.
yeah, one of the main characters. Yeah,
Yeah.
you just
Yeah.
do bad things sometimes.
But that is yeah. I'm sorry that I was just really just thinking about the development of him and what they could have done to make it better. But there's literally not much.
Now, let's talk about our favorite black guy, Finn. Oh my God, they did this man dirty.
They did do him dirty.
Oh
The
my,
actor even said they did him dirty.
yeah, I know. He said,
Did
He
you
said
see
F
that?
Star Wars. I'm done with that movie.
Yeah,
He said he was
they did him
done.
dirty.
I guess, because, like I said, when I first saw the trailer, it looked like he was the main character. I was like, oh, they making their Star Wars trilogy over a black character. That's awesome. And then they get a Ray out of nowhere. I don't know where she came from. Randy Orton just surprised me there, but she came out of nowhere, and she, and then the way they have him characterized was like every single time he like Ray, Ray, Ray,
Mhm.
just yelling the girl name all throughout the series.
He was very helpless. Like
Ray,
he literally just kept continued to get beat up by like the most basic people in the thing in the movie. Like he had his own little like again they tried and that's the part that I'm talking about. They tried to make him relevant, a main character, but look at who his opposition was. It was the commander. I
Captain
forgot what her
Plasma,
name was.
Captain
Yeah.
Plasma.
Yeah, it was her and like she wasn't really that much of a factor.
She was
Like
a
that was her
there.
own little side quest, side mission that like you're giving to somebody that you have not hyped up enough. Like it doesn't make any sense.
It was, and like I said, the way that they did this, man, he had no part in the movie, and he had the most interesting part of the story though. It's like he was like he had the interesting story. Sorry, he was like a guy who was part of the first order, and he went to the first mission, and he saw him just killing all these villagers, and he felt bad about this. Like, wow, this is kind of messed up. So he's changed.
Yeah.
That's very interesting. That's very interesting
It's very
because,
interesting to figure out like how did he get there?
yeah, like it was very interesting, and yet they said throw in the trash. We're on Ray and Kylo Ren relationship.
Yeah, like just throw the whole relationship away. Just throw like, but the thing is, like, we don't know his
Throw the whole character
backstory. We
away.
don't know. Just like throw the whole character away. Because I mean, it was in episode like the last one where he's just like, Ray, I have something to tell you, and they never talk about that. Like that's it. Like they never like it. That's it. We never know what he has to tell her. Like it could be I love you. It could be some people say that he's force sensitive. Like it doesn't make any sense of like who this guy really is because there's no background story once again.
Like, yes, they actually do the background story in the comics if you read the comics, which is
Uh,
not, which is like not the way you do your movies. You shouldn't have background. You shouldn't have your background put in the comic books. You're like, especially for a major character. I get like a small character, but not a major character.
But even so, like, there's no reason why that you would have to like. And I get that, like, if you're going to be a super fan, like, go read the comics. Like, there's other literature out there. There's other things out there that you need to see before this. Like, I'm a fan, but I did not watch. What was the Star Wars show that came on? I want to say like Nickelodeon or Toon.
Oh no 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 no! It
It's
was Cartoon Network. The Clone Wars.
no, it wasn't the Clone Wars. I watched all of the Clone Wars. It was Jedi. No, it was like Rebels,
Oh,
Star Wars Rebels,
Disney XD. The
Disney
Rebels.
XD. That's what it was. Apparently everything in there is canon.
Wait,
Like it's
what?
actual continuation. Like that entire show is canon.
What?
Like it's a continuation of the story, which I guess it's like it's after the Clone Wars, from my understanding. But my thing is like I can understand like in shows like you can go from the Clone Wars to Rebels, like things like that. But if you're gonna make a movie, make it so that like people understand what's going on in the movie. Like you're here for 2 hours. You know, like I don't need to go through the entire background so I can understand the movie. That's the point of the movie, is to tell a story. You see what I'm saying? I don't feel like I should have to go and look up the comic that I don't know if it's can. Like I wouldn't know where to start if I wasn't a fan.
So, wow, Rebel is actually canon. That's crazy. Okay, yeah, it's like I said, it did so much wrong in this movie that it make no sense. And for the characters, for like Ray, Finn, and also I forgot one person because he really had zero character development in the whole movie. Poe, like Poe,
I
what can we say about Poe?
There's nothing. I did not even want to say anything about Puff.
There's like
I don't.
there's literally like nothing I can say about Poe. He feel like the most underwhelming character in this whole franchise.
It was, yeah. Yeah, he's supposed to have this cool backstory. He's supposed to be like this cool fly guy, and that's just about it.
Like you
That's
can
it.
like for the first movie, you can literally write him off the movie and nothing changed.
No, but I guess he becomes more of a thing later on. But like I think they added him in just because they needed
Diversity.
somebody. They needed diversity. Yeah, like they needed somebody to be able to like actually have skills, because none of the characters in the movie actually have like defined skills. Like there has to be someone in there that is really good at what they do to give them a fighting chance.
Yes.
So that's the only reason why I can think of why you would add them in there. I mean, BB2 was a probably the best character. So
Chewbacca was cool.
hmm?
Chewbacca was cool.
Yeah, the 4 times we seen him, he was pretty cool.
But yeah, it was this trilogy look to me, well, I feel like everybody now look written was terribly wrong. It was like nothing on the movie felt right or have the love with it. It felt like a cash grab.
Without a doubt. Without a doubt. It was Disney trying to take advantage of Star Wars from fan base to make as much money as they possibly can without actually understanding what's going on.
Because like even the people attacking the fans, like, hey, these things are not made for you. Hey, jazz are nothing more but space wizards. Stop taking it too hard and stuff like that. It's like, dude, this is their franchise. Like, you make something for the audience, they love it, and then you're gonna disrespect them like that. That makes sense to me.
Yeah, they said it's like the best way to describe the entire thing is just a cash grab. Like it is, in my opinion, and I truly believe that like they wanted they wanted to take over and just continue what was happening instead of redefining the role. Yeah, they wanted instead of redefining the role, like, and continue bringing it into this new era, new age with the same ideas. They wanted to already piggyback. It was like, okay, everybody loves Star Wars, so they're going to see the movie anyway. You know?
Like, it's just something that when I look at the first movie, the second movie, and heard about the third movie, nothing was cared for. It just, and like I said, I cannot go to anybody. If I say I love Star Wars, this is not the movie I'll show to people to get into Star Wars. This trilogy.
No.
Like I'll show them Clone Wars, the show. I may show them the original. I'll show them the third, the Revenge of the Sith. That was pretty good.
Yeah, I like The Revenge of the Sith was probably my favorite out of all the trilogies. The
And
acting, going back looking at it, was not that good, but the
no,
storyline was immaculate.
okay. So real quick, I just want to add there is that the reason I like Clone Wars and not the prequels much was because I understand what George Lucas was trying to do. He was trying to put politics in the movie, trying to show, oh, this is the reason why the Jazz went down because of politics and how making mistakes in politics, they gave Palpatine too much power and he or the clone trooper to kill everybody. But
Right.
but you don't put long politics in your movie that's only 2 hours long.
See, I disagree with you. I actually enjoyed the fact that it's not all about fighting and like and training, and like I think that adding the politics really gave me like a sense of like, okay, like there's other things going on in the world. And that's what I think I loved about Star Wars so much, was the fact that like it's not just based off of Jedi versus Sith. It's based off of like, yo, everybody is being affected by this. Like the politics in my part, I loved it.
Like, no, I like here's the thing I'm trying to admit by the politics. I like the politics too. It just I don't think it was right for to do it in the movie way. If they put it in like a TV show, we have more time to talk about the politics and also add your action in there for everybody. It worked well. I think that's why Clone Wars did so well because they were able to add in the politics. Because there were a lot of times they were just like talking about politics a lot of time in the show, and then add the action. So like for anybody who
But
don't
you
really,
talking about like the Clone Wars, the ones that was on Cartoon Network, right?
yes,
Yeah. The
yeah,
Clone
like
Wars, I think they did exactly the same thing as what they did in the movie.
yes, and that's is better because they have more time to actually expand everything. So if you're like, oh, they're doing too much talking, they gave more time to actually say, okay, there's the fighting the politics, and you're like, okay, now I understand the universe, why things are just the way they are, and how
Right.
slowly and surely how the Jedi's went through a downfall. I just feel like the politics kind of slowed down the movie too much because they're all in the Senate room just talking, while on the TV show they do a great job because they don't just stay in one area. They go to different planets. They actually do a lot of talking, negotiations.
Yeah, but you got to also remember that the Clone Wars came out after the
Yes,
show. The Clone Wars came out after the movie did, so
yes,
the movie had to establish that regardless.
yes. And I think I heard that complaint so many times, like, oh, the politics slowed down the movie. So I'm like, that's why I'm like, the TV show do a better job because it had more time to do everything like that.
I do agree that the TV show did a better job, but I wouldn't change the politics on
Oh,
Attack of the Clones.
oh yeah,
I think that, like I said, it just gives you that feeling that like other things are going down in the universe. Like there's a lot of things that contributed to what we seen in the original trilogy.
yeah,
So they're going back and talking them how everything was like happening, everything was born. I think they did a good job, and that's why I like the trilogy as much, just because of it established. Like they just did a good job. They brought the graphics from the era that they made the trilogy in. I mean that they made the prequels in. Like they
mhm,
brought that idea from the original trilogy and made it better, in my opinion. Like they brought it into the new decade, the new era, and continue the same feeling of though like this is Star Wars, which is what they didn't do bringing into this era. They completely left that behind.
Yes, that's why I like the prequels and the Clone Wars, because I actually enjoy just like understanding the history, seeing more of the characters, actually getting more info about the characters and what was going down on the story. And unlike the sequel trilogy, it actually explained things.
Yeah, that is true. They spent a lot of time explaining things. A lot of time.
Yeah, it's just watching the sequel trilogy and stuff like that. It just made me just upset as a like, I'm not a strong Star Wars fan, but I'm somewhat of a Star Wars fan to just feel aggravated to see some changes they do or stuff they add into it or the characters that's supposed to be representing the new age of Star Wars,
Right.
and it doesn't land.
It doesn't. They
They broke their leg.
if they really want to do justice by this entire series, in my opinion, you're going to first admit that like
Nothing
what you
can. The
did
whole thing
wasn't
was
it.
just Secret
Yeah,
Trilogy.
it was just
What is
terrible.
Secret
Like
Trilogy? Nothing's canon. We're gonna bring like the same people and just make the
exactly.
whole thing again.
And just try it again. Like you're gonna have to apologize. Like you're gonna have to actually admit that you did wrong, and then take the time to actually go into their stories, or whether it's a spinoff, whether it's a Disney TV show. Like you have to explain their backgrounds. Like you have to explain the things that you did not explain in the movies. That's the only way that you can make it right. So then I can watch that and then it will fit into the movies you've already made because I'm like, okay, now I know who this character is.
Yeah.
I'm not going to be surprised at the things that they do for what seemed like no reason in the movie because now I know his background. Now I know how Finn ended up with the stormtroopers. Like um I know how Rey was able to like shoot lightning because there could be a possibility that Palpatine is and that she's related. You know what I'm saying? Like I seen Ben go from Ben to Kylo because I watched him with Luke. Like just things like that. Like that's how, in my opinion, you fix that.
Yeah. Well, that'd be that'd be all today. And I want to say thank you for coming up to the podcast and talk about Star Wars. We had a long discussion about how bad the movie went.
Yeah, I appreciate you for having me, man. Just for everybody that's listening, again, I'm Jalen Bacon, Edith Runner, and this podcast is probably one of the funnest things that I've done in a long time. I hope that y'all continue to listen to the podcast. There's going to be a lot of great conversations, and hopefully, if you let me back on, we can talk about a lot more.
Yeah. But thank you. And goodbye.
See you.
See ya.